Yes.
Because it's cascading style.
Mhm.
So now I gotta go here, and I should probably grab my text here and make it, where is black? There's black, and now I'm gonna apply that to my minimal edit box, and now I'm all back to where I was. So that's that. So I have another layout. Let me just switch this way. That uses the same theme, it started with the same sophisticated touch theme, but you'll notice this layout hasn't updated yet. That is because styles work first at the layout level and then at the file level.
But you have to propagate them.
But I have to propagate them. Right. So what I've done is I've modified the theme as it's used on this artist detail layout. So now if I want to change this to the theme, so now if I save this change, I can say, I like this. This is going to be my special iPad theme. Or I can say, I want everything that was using sophisticated touch to use my modified theme. So there I'm going to say save changes to the theme. I get the warning.
But it's still file specific. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's still file specific.
But the only way you got there is when you didn't have anything selected on that layout.
It doesn't matter if I have things selected or not here. If I've got something selected, what I'm looking at now is rather than looking at the style, I'm looking at the theme.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sophisticated. And again, I got that asterisk and I've got that. So I'm going to save changes to my theme. This cannot be undone. We warn you.
Until you check the do not show again.
Yeah.
And then I don't do it.
Yeah.
That's one of those reasons I never check those boxes.
Yeah.
So I've done that, and now, as you would expect, I have now restyled this layout as well. So that's that. But now if I say, I like this theme, I want to go apply it to another file, under the File menu, we have a new Manage Themes. So this gives you a couple of things you can do. Let me zoom to make it a little bigger for all of you. So you'll see here are all my themes that are used in the file and how many layouts use that theme. So here's that luminous touch that I applied and then got rid of. So it's not used on any layouts, but the CSS for that theme is still in my file. So I can actually go in and say, delete that.
Okay.
That's a good
So I
thing.
guess it
So
shrinks the file down somewhat.
to shrink the file down somewhat. So, you know, if you, like everybody else when you first got FileMaker 12 or FileMaker 13, took an old file and then applied every theme to see what they looked like, and noticed that your file got bigger and bigger and bigger. Well,
A lot of baggage, yeah.
yeah. You know, so this is where, if I'm in another file, I can go here and I can say import, and I can go look at, you know, some other file. For example, this context file on my desktop. But this doesn't have any custom themes in it, so there's nothing there. But that's how you would move a theme from one file to another.
If you clone that file, does it get rid of things like themes that are not used?
I don't think so. I think the clone is going to give you, in fact, I know it doesn't from others, from playing with clones of other people's databases.
Yeah, it's in here if you're going to clone it.
Yeah, so the clone is going to give you everything in the structure, which includes, you know, any CSS you've brought in.
Okay.
Yeah, the only way to get rid of that CSS is to actually specifically select it and delete.
So,
And if I try to delete something that's being used, I can't.
the significance of the brackets around some of those?
Okay, so the brackets are the default themes, are unmodified default themes.
Okay.
Anything with no
No
brackets is, so this is my custom sophisticated touch. It is, you know, a few other custom themes we've built for this file. You know, gallery soft is the gallery, the specialized version for the gallery, sophisticated touch for the gallery, and the Webdirect for the gallery. So that's themes. One thing about Webdirect, if you're planning to use Webdirect, it's imperative that you use themes and styles, because that is one of the that will
The speed thing.
that's one of the biggest speed things. The worst thing you can do in Webdirect is something
Things unique to themselves, each field.
unique,
something
exactly,
else, yeah.
right. So, you know, for example, maybe I want to make this be a black field or a black border or something, and then use the format painter. You know, we all got really
Yes,
spoiled
yeah.
by,
Mhm.
you know, this is the worst thing you can do, because rather than using a style that is copying all the styling attributes and bringing it down, which means that now if I were to use this layout on Webdirect, I am sending that black
Yeah.
border instruction
Oh.
3 times, once for each object that uses it. Whereas if I had defined it as part of my style, I'll send it once. So that's themes and styles at a high level. There have been a couple good articles about it. Richard Carlton did a great 1 hour, did a great webinar for us last month that you can get to on the webinars FileMaker page, where he was talking about Webdirect and optimization, but it's really about the importance of themes and styles, and he dives in a little bit more on using
So
themes.
I guess the question would be, it seems better to use these. Is there an instance
Absolutely.
when the painting would be better? I
No,
mean, I can't think of one.
no,
Okay.
it's
Not
just,
anymore.
it's there for,
Yeah.
backward compatibility and whatnot. Yeah. So, you know, again, one of the conversations I've had many, many times since we released FileMaker 13 is people who had an IWP solution, and they opened it up with Webdirect, and they called me and said, performance is awful. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I would expect performance to be awful. Here's why. Here are some things you can do to mitigate it. And the other one is people who don't read the Webdirect guide. There's a lot of good information if you're planning to develop for Webdirect. Review the Webdirect guide. It's an actually very helpful document. And most importantly, it specifies the handful of things that we just can't do in HTML5 yet.
So if I had a solution that I had web painted everything, format painted
Yeah.
everything before, if I just go back and apply the styles and stuff to it,
Right.
that'll take that off. And
Yeah, I mean, so you do
recover
have to manually like go through and touch each object too.
right, yeah.
Once.
Once I've done that, then
Then you're
yeah,
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
so
not
you
a rebuild; it's just a retouch of it.
it's just to retouch everything, you know, so you'll look at it and say, okay, you know, this is my default field, so let me, you know, define this as my default, and then go and apply that to everything that should be a default. And then if I've got a bold field,
right,
you know, if I've got 5 fields on the layout that are bold, make a bold field style and apply that to all the bold fields.
The Webdirect is only server.
Yes, Webdirect requires server. So let's, while we're on the topic of server, let's, last thing I have to show is the very exciting new admin console.
Because I was playing with this the other day, and just to get a Webdirect page.
Mm-hmm.
I could never get it to show up in Webdirect.
You need to, you're missing something.
But I don't know what.
I will show you that too,
Okay.
because we'll do 2 things. I just wanted to quickly show the very exciting admin console here. Here it is. It's lovely and beautiful, right?
And this has to be an HTTPS connection?
No, it can't
No.
be an HTTP.
Yeah.
I mean, we force you to HTTPS, and it uses the FileMaker self-sign just for security. But if you do localhost, you can do HTTP.
The words localhost as opposed to like
Yeah.
127.0.0.1?
Yeah, if you use localhost and
Because you're on the same machine. so
because you're on the
what's
same
matter?
machine.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, but here it is. You know, you can do all the same things that you could do before, and we'll come back to this. So let's actually talk about Webdirect, and I'm going to actually close Gallery Master to get it out of the way. And I am going to open up, I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to grab, so what I've got here is this is just a version of the contact starter solution with some data in it. And right now, oh, you think it was posted. So, oh, this is just the contact starter solution with no data in it. No, it's got data in it. There it
A
is.
little bit, yeah.
There it is. Okay. So it's got some data in it, and I want to share it. So if I just upload this to FileMaker Server, we'll come back to that. So first thing I want to do is, for sharing, first thing you want to do before you do anything is configure the file for Webdirect. I'm going to go in here and say, for this contacts file,
Oh, okay.
turn on Webdirect access for either by privilege set or all users.
I thought I did it, but
You might not have.
I may have looked there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And what that's going to do if I go to manage security is if I go to my privilege sets, let me just pick this one. It gives me,
instead of IPW, it's now
Yeah.
Webdirect.
yeah, it now gives me the Webdirect extended privilege.
Okay.
Yeah, and so one thing you'll notice is if you've got a file that was used in 12,
Mhm.
You will also have the
IPW.
IWP extended privilege.
Mhm.
So you don't need it anymore. You can just
Okay.
delete it.
Okay.
But you need to then explicitly also turn on Webdirect.
Okay.
So that's one thing I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do before I do that is I'm also going to make sure that I am sharing this with FileMaker clients, because I have done this before where I lock the keys in the car. I go put the file up on FileMaker server. I turn on Webdirect, put the file on server,
Yeah.
Try to log in and do some modifications.
and try to log in to do some modification, and I
okay.
can't. So, but what that does do is it does allow you to create a file that's exclusively for Webdirect and put it on server and completely disallow.
And where was that? That was under.
So that's also under sharing,
Okay.
and it's just, configure, share with FileMaker clients
Oh, okay.
instead. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm going to move this to FileMaker Server, which I can now do right from within FileMaker Pro
Very
in
nice.
the toolbar.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I'm going to upload this to FileMaker Server. First thing I have to do is I have to close. And this is one where you don't have to worry about people doing things you don't want them to. I'm going to switch and find my local host. There it is. I have to log in as an administrator. And then I thought I stopped it on my server. I can't do it because it already exists on the server. So let me cancel that. And this time my file is closed, so I'm just going to rename this file contacts2, because that doesn't exist on my server. And I can also, from here, from the sharing menu, I can also pick a file to upload to FileMaker Server. So let's do this again. You're going to see all the ways to do this. Now I have to pick it. There it is. I can upload it, and then I can automatically open it. So now if I upload it, let me open it. There it is in FileMaker Pro. Again, so now it's on server, and you can see in the title bar, if I pull this down, pull down my title bar so I can see it. There it is. It gives me the parentheses to say that it's on server. And so now I can also open this in Webdirect. If I go back here and refresh my list of what's available for Webdirect, there's contacts2. And it's thinking really hard. Why are you thinking so hard?
I'm tired. It's the end of the day.
It is the end of the day. I got up at...
A question. This looks like it allows some level of offline development where production files can be running and then you doing something just locally. But how do you resolve the data issues?
You need to then, you have a couple choices. You can either, import all the data from the production file in when you're ready to post your new file. And if it's something that you're doing frequently, it's a good idea to automate that so that you get everything. Or the other thing people do a lot is they use a separation model where they have the data file, which contains just basically the core data and the layouts and relationships necessary basically to only resolve calculations. and then all the other business logic and the layouts that is used for user interaction. And what that allows you to do is just replace that that front end file or the business logic file and leave the data file alone, unless you absolutely need to add a new field or change a relationship.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and if you look for, Googling for FileMaker separation model, you'll find a lot about, there's a lot of developers have written about how to approach
There was
that.
a nice video on actually taking one that they've already built and converting it to
A separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so finally, it did finally open.
Yeah.
So here we are in Webdirect. I just wanted to show one thing about this in Webdirect, and that is you do have the option in Webdirect to show the toolbar.